Hi guys, so this is a reply to one of my friends, Natasha, who very kindly took some time out of her day to record one of my stories as spoken word. So I thought it only fitting that I would reply in kind. So I'm going to be reading to you one of her short stories, which is entitled Feeling Christmassy. I don't think I'm going to get through the full thing because it's quite long. Links will be in the description to the one that Natasha done. If you make it all the way through it, or even if you listen to some of this, thanks very much. Leave a like, share it, all that stuff. So without anything further, this is Feeling Christmassy by Natasha Sinclair. Giving the primal mind a shudder of delirious, devilish delight, Maria punctured skin biting on her bottom lip as she stuffed in another. Sucking in droplets of metallic silk, she spat. This is the last fucking foil wrapper I pick up after you. I'm not your fucking maid anymore. Snarling through gritty teeth, she near choked on her own sudden laugh. Hysteria spilled over as she looked at the ridiculous sight of her beloved husband. Her small, lilac-gloved fist buried deep inside his face. Her usually cold, seasoned, arthritic hands suddenly full of life and heat as she gleefully quashed his. He seemed to be still trying to breathe around the foil and plastic wrappers packed densely into his throat. Pathetic wheezing caused the material to crunch and crackle. This time the sounds were music to her ears as she straddled his broad chest. There were the years of complacency and gluttony have taken you. Now it's your turn to choke on it, my love. Bloodshot eyes, wide and watering, looked up at her. Shocked and frightened, pleading, suddenly she understood the appeal from the other side. 30 years of cleaning up after him, and the kids. The little wifey had finally cracked. The 8-foot cut Fraser first stood green and proud by the front window, meticulously dripping in this year's choice of gold, glittered garland, cream-beaded bells, classic ceramic ornaments collected over the years, petite, soft, twinkling warm lights, lavishly gift-wrapped presents matching the colour scheme of gold and cream with tiny accents of green that tastefully swathed the gold velvet base. Catalogue, picture, perfect. Christmas was a welcome distraction and Maria was truly excited about having her 3 children around the dinner table, with her for the first time this year. Peace would come long, drowsy, dreamy waves from the noise of their beautiful lives filled with potential and adventure, the retailing of their rich, bustling days filled with dreams and hope. Those days they were too busy to call. She missed them, but she didn't mind. They were living, healthy, happy, and that was all that mattered. Desperately she missed their noise. Even the twins bickering was a love song to her mother's heart. It had been a few months since the youngest Aaron had moved out. They were now for the first in an age alone. Just him and her. She longed for silence for so long. When it came, it was just too damn loud. The monotony was thicker than it had ever been, oozing sticky grease from the walls. Marriage was entirely suffocating. The unplanned teen pregnancy had been her marching down the aisle so as not to shame the family, life martyred to the unborn, and him, her prize cut beef. Women loved him back then. With a drink in his hand, he used charm, muscle-bound physique, an edge of anarchy in his devilishly smile. Who doesn't love a bad boy? Little did they know, the grass is always greener, so they say. Well, Maria's yard was slabbed. Not a blade of green even tried to push through. Wouldn't dare. And that youthful physique of his was slackened, especially around the spoiled guts and long gone abs. What was hers to his until there was nothing left. They had become so entangled, so fast and so young, what Maria once simply melted away, forgotten. Sometimes she wasn't even sure that her thoughts were her very own. The voices gibbering in her head were in many ways her sanity. But she did occasionally wonder if she could hear them whisper. Maybe the sound of those whispers is what put the putrid green venom in his eye. Perhaps that was the medication talking. She could never be certain. All she could do was to keep on smiling and get on with it, as they say. Nonetheless, the same tired routines were wearing, making it all the more challenging to paint on that smile with every day the sound he made when he passed out drunk every night. Boozy breath filling the air, creating its own thick shadows in the corners, sprouting sickening mould. The incessant high-pitched squat of the 5 AM alarm that he always snoozed at least twice. The gargling clunk and hiss of his coffee machine that should have been replaced long ago. Not to mention the nauseating smell of the horrid stuff. Fuck. Battering our senses back, blue and bitter like his bruised tyrannical fist. The way he always left the seat up, leaving a little dribble on the floor, like he was continually marking his territory, though he was never the one to clean it up, of course. Newspaper rustling, which was always the carelessly discarded, folded at the sports section. How much effort does it really take to close a newspaper properly? She fucking hated sports. Coffee cup always discarded on the white windowsill with a spit at the bottom and a dirty brown ring beneath it. She used to wonder if he thought a fairy swept in through the house cleaning up his messes. A little sunshine yellow feather duster in hand with a smile, and a song like a fairy tale princess's godmother, ever thankful for his royal presence. Magic. Poof. Clean. The truth was that he just didn't think about it. He never had to. Going from his mother's house to their marital home, where she was a mother too, therefore at his service by some unspoken default. She was always just a mother, just a wife, no longer even a person of her own merit. Once the kids were all at school, even a part-time job couldn't break that identity. As a school dinner lady, she was just Mrs. McCarthy, the twins' mum. The source of her misery was that damn ring. Once it was on, a token of ownership, like the cat's collar with his name engraved, just as thick, sticky urine marked the floor by the bowl. Mine! It strangled her to the flesh, to the bone. That ring had embedded itself into her finger. No amount of soapy dishwasher was getting that sordid, cheap gold off. She knew she would burn with the thing, strangling her dead finger, still hanging onto the blackened, charred bone, the romance of his endless love. The housework wasn't as grating, and his little tokens were hidden amongst the autopilot chores she was doing for the children. Once the last fledgling one was gone, she soon realised that most of it was in fact his. An ugly, sickening resentment quickly pressed down on her shoulders, making tired eyeballs bulge from hollowing sockets on delicate, spidery crow's feet. For Alex, their time after the children had gone was comfortable and contented. Waves of silences rang peace, but still, all she could hear was his little habits. The racket picking up vigorous velocity, she ran around, sweeping up crumbs, pulling at his feet. Although they both worked, his was the only one that counted. A woman's work inside and outside the home isn't real work, if you didn't already know. He always had to rest those poor tired feet. Peaceful silence to him was another little death to her. Death premature when she had been biding time to finally live. Boredom and weariness, slow burn through her days, hating that she was still cleaning up after a grown man that children were gone. But he still demanded mothering. If he could suckle at her bosom, she knew he would, with a vile broken yellow teeth possessing, leaving just another mark as raw, bruised nipples seeped through down the devil's throat. Bitterness rapidly rose in her heart, replacing blood with putrid sludge circulating through her veins, polluting that which was once mild, soft, forgiving, loving. None of that was left. All the patience and love had been poured into the children. Depleted resources that had never been filled back up. The last of it was slapped, scratched and kicked out of her long ago. Except only for them. A mother always sacrifices herself, willingly, without even knowing it. At first, it just happens. Until very soon, if no one else cares enough to notice, she becomes entirely lost, never to be found. There you go. There's an extract. Hope you enjoyed it. If you made it all the way, leave a like, share it, subscribe, all that. Thanks very much.